What did it get me?
Chelsea, I'm gonna need you to put the liquor bottle down, girl. Literally, put the liquor bottle down and go get a therapist. I'm gonna need you to stop drinking. Put the bottle down, girl. Put the glass down. I'm gonna need you to see a therapist. And I'm gonna need you to stop drinking. Period. Period, 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 girl. Period. Guys, what is up? It is me, Lex, and welcome back to my channel, or also welcome if you are a new viewer. If you are a new viewer, I would love it if you like the videos, if you could like, share, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell button, okay? Turn on the bell button as well, please. Just all of these things because it really helps my little channel grow. I think I'm around 160 subscribers at the time of filming this. So that is amazing. Like, I just cannot believe that 160 of you are like, yes, I want to make sure that I know when these videos come out. Okay. And I know Love is Blind is kind of like the bread and butter of this channel. I know the Love is Blind videos pop off. They do very well. And if you are just here for Love is Blind, fast forward like about 2 to 3 minutes or so, because I just want to also give a shameless promo to the rest of my channel though, because I am not just going to be a recap channel, okay? I do also want to really talk a lot about celebrity news, celebrity gossip, do reactions. I do have two kind of other series on my channel. I did 2 reaction videos to the Riza Tiza situation. I didn't break it down part by part. I thought I was gonna do that. I thought I was gonna do like 10 parts, like, you know what I mean? Like kind of do 1 through 10, then 11 through 20, but I was too busy. But I did do 2 videos discussing the situation, so I would love it if you guys could check those videos out, as well as Tea with Lex. And that is a running title, but that series is going to be where I do pop culture recaps. I did do one last week. I spoke about Beyonce, spoke about Legion, spoke about DDG, and a couple of other things, Wendy Williams. So I would love it if you guys could please check that series out too. Yes, of course, I will be doing show recaps. And I am deciding right now what are kind of the next batch of shows or the next show that I want to be recapping. But this channel for me, like I majored in journalism. So I am very interested in like the journalistic aspect of like talking about reporting on celebrity news and just news in general, pop culture news. That's always been fascinating to me. That's always been interesting. So I would love it if you guys could check out and give some love to those parts of my channel. And again, like I said, at the time of filming, I'm at like 160 subscribers. So that would be awesome. But anyways, let's get into the tea. Let's get into the tea. Okay, let's get into the tea. So this is only going to be episode 10. Now, I have watched the episodes. I want to, for the record, let y'all know. I watched the episodes on like Thursday, but my sister was in town, so we just kind of watched it and chopped it up. And I was like, I don't really want to take notes. I don't really feel like it. So I rewatched it today just to make sure my notes are accurate, my memory is accurate, and let's get into it. So we begin the episode with Jeremy and his mom. They are meeting up to talk about the Sarah Ann situation. And let's be honest here, Jeremy is taking zero accountability. Jeremy does not want Laura. Jeremy doesn't want Laura. He does not care. Jeremy doesn't even care to pretend he he effed up and he made a mistake. Jeremy is taking zero accountability. He is basically, his story is that he was with, Sarah Ann was at the club. He was at the club with his friends and that he wasn't going to change his whole plan up. So he was talking with Sarah Ann. They were supposedly just talking. And Sarah Ann was like, oh man, I need to get an Uber somewhere. And he was like, oh, how far away do you live? And she said she lived 8 minutes away, apparently. So he just drove her home. That's his story, his cover, that he drove her home, and that was that. But it's like, Jeremy's lying. We will never know what happened that night if neither one of them wants to tell. But it's like, You tried to lie to Laura, and now you're just saying, oh, you simply drove her home. If that was the case, why you didn't say that to Laura? Why didn't you say that when you were talking? I'm not saying it would have made things better, but why didn't you say that? Jeremy's mom came through though. She was like, it couldn't have been me, girl. It could not have been me. I would have been on that couch waiting for you to get home. It couldn't have been me. You would not have pulled this stunt with me. And I loved that. I loved that. I really loved that Jeremy's mom was like, you're on that stuff. You on that BS. Like, stop it. If you don't like the girl, you don't like the girl, but you on that BS. So it was too much, man. He claims that it was a constructive conversation, but it's like, if you had a constructive conversation with her, why couldn't you just say that? Like, something's fishy about the situation. And like I said, none of us are ever going to know exactly what happened there. So let's move on. So Chelsea and Jimmy, we see Chelsea meet Jimmy's family. And I was shocked these people exist. I did not know Jimmy had family because he brought those two girls to the other family meetup episode. And I was like, oh, Jimmy got family? I thought we was just gonna get them two girls, but yeah, there was nothing much here to see. Jimmy's family, very country. I mean, I know they're in North Carolina, but it's just so shocking to me how country they really were. Jimmy's going on a whole thing about how he's dating to get married. He doesn't want to just date for fun anymore. He wants to get married, yada, yada, yada. And Jimmy's parents talk about, each other and how they love each other and how they just have like one little pet peeve. And his dad says that his pet peeve of his mom is that she's a pack rat. Now, what is a pack rat? Is that some kind of Southern thing? Is that some kind of, thing? Y'all know if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. But like, what is a pack rat? Because even when I watched this, because I watched this also with my sister and my fiance, and none of the three of us knew what a pack rat was. So is that a common term? Can somebody please tell me what a pack rat is? Okay, anyway, AD and Clay. So they go to meet AD's mom, and AD's mom is like really, like AD is first off like, he's a looker. He's a looker. You gonna like him. And why do these two always lead with looks? I feel like both Clay and AD constantly lead with looks. It's like, is there anything else these two like about each other besides the way they look? You're going to tell your mom about your new man, and the first thing you have to say is he's a looker? What about his personality, his character, his work ethic, his goals, his aspirations? Anything? I just feel like these two have no actual connection. And that's the problem. There is no connection there. There's no connection there. Because if the first thing you have to say is, he's a looker, he's a looker, he's a looker. Oh my God, mom, you gonna look, he's a looker? Girl, I couldn't. So AD is telling her mom about how she planned an event the other night where it was like 25 things. She had written down 25 things that she loved about Clay. She wrote a card, and she had this whole entire thing planned and had it like on their kitchen island waiting for him to come home that day. And he never came home. That man don't be in the shared apartment. That man literally does not show up unless they are on camera. That we gonna talk about Clay, because that man does not show up unless they are on camera. And she's yet again telling us he is not there. Girl, you planned a whole event for him and he didn't even come home, and you're just like, but he's a looker though. I love him though. He's a looker. It's like, girl, this man shows you he don't like you. So Clay comes in, he sits down. This man is always talking about how busy he is. And the thing I've noticed is that the people who constantly talk about how busy they are the least busy people in the entire world. This man's talking about how he had to get a haircut. He had 2 meetings. He had to drive here, drive there, drive everywhere. The people who always make a point to talk about how busy they are the least busy people on the planet. These people ain't got nothing going on, but they want you to think they have a lot going on. So AD claims that the two of them connected on entrepreneurial business and generational wealth. Now, Clay is in tech sales, right? Because he clarifies what he does in this episode. He said, I'm in tech sales, but I also have a side business where I do Airbnbs and I also rent out boats. I want to know what AD's entrepreneurial business is. I know she's in real estate, so I'm assuming that's what she means because he does Airbnbs and she's also starting off in real estate, that they connected on that, I guess. I don't know, y'all. I'm just confused. Clay is always going on and on and on about how perfect AD is, how she is the girl that he has always been looking for, how he is so grateful for her. He literally tells AD's mom that he feels like he was meant for AD. And AD's mom is like, meant for what? Because he goes, I feel like I was meant to be here. And AD's mom is like, wait, meant to be in the experiment? He's like, no, meant for AD. He talks about how his mom gave him a proverb before he got to the pods. This man just always knows exactly what to say. He's always going on and on and on about how great AD is. It's like the mouth is moving, but ain't nothing coming out. The words are coming out, but they don't mean nothing. He again talks about divorce. He talks about how his parents were divorced after 25 years and that he is worried that he's not enough for AD, that he's not going to be able to give AD what she needs. And her mom is like, why do you say that? Why are you holding on to that? Yeah, as parents, we have all these things that we may have done, but you don't need to hold on to that. You need to be your own self. You're smart. Don't hold on to whatever your parents did. Be your own person. You can show up if you want to. And I agreed with her mom. I definitely agreed with what her mom was saying. However, there is a reason, in my opinion, why Clay is doing this. Clay walks away. Let me finish this and then I'll talk about my theory. So Clay walks away and they are gushing over him. AD's mom is literally like, that's a man, Amber. Amber, that is a man. Oh my God, Amber. I was like, what? AD is sobbing at this point. She is sobbing about how great he is, how she can't believe that she has him. And they are both just gushing over this man. And I'm sitting here like, this is literally my face this entire conversation. Even watching this for the second time, I'm like, what? So I like AD's mom. What I will say is I do like AD's mom. And I do think AD's mom supports her. They have a heartfelt conversation when Clay gets up and leaves for a little bit. And, AD's like, hey, I'm so grateful you're here. You've always supported me. Her mom's talking her up like when you were in that line with 200 or 300 women. Because remember, she was a cheerleader for the Patriots. And you came out on top. You did that. And her mom did say some good stuff. Her mom was like, look, if your all is not enough for him, then leave him. He's not the one. But she does say that he's clearly putting in the work to be a good partner, which I thought was really weird. I just think that Clay doesn't want AD. I actually think Clay's going to say no. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody thinks, oh, it might be AD. I actually think it might be Clay. Because I don't think Clay wants her. I think the reason why Clay is continuing to build this mountain that he can't stay faithful. He grew up in a family where he never saw a solid relationship. He has all these problems. He doesn't know if he can be enough for AD is because he's trying to put the nuggets out there that he either A, knows he's going to cheat because he doesn't actually like her, or B, doesn't even want to bother to get married. And this comes up later in the episode. I just don't believe for 1 second that Clay actually likes her. I think the thing is Clay wants to like her. I will say this. I think Clay wants to like her. I really do. But I don't think he does. And I'm not going to call colorism, But I do think that that may have something to do with it. I think he likes her body. I think he thinks she's a nice girl. But I think there's just that little part right there. And that's the reason why he keeps on basically telling her and us and everybody listening that he's not going to be faithful, that he's not going to be good in this relationship, that he's not ready, that he doesn't want to be married, because I don't think he likes her. And I know we've been saying that, but I think he wants to. I do genuinely believe he wants to like her. But I just don't think he does. I think there's just that little thing holding back. And I don't know, for me, as a dark-skinned Black woman, I'm always kind of inclined to believe it's colorism. I'm not saying I know that for any kind of fact. But for me, that is what I'm typically inclined to believe. That maybe he don't like dark-skinned girls. I'm just not buying it, because he hasn't even said anything nice about her as a human. He's never called her beautiful, by the way. He's talked about her body, but I don't believe he's ever called her beautiful. Listen to the words that these people say. So that's my take. AD says some crazy-ish. She's literally like, I would follow that man off a cliff with no parachute because I know he'd be there to catch me. And I'm like, somebody save AD. And I cannot believe her mom is so gobbled up by this whole thing. I couldn't believe it. Anywho, we move on to Amy and Johnny. Not much here. Fake drama. Amy and Johnny, fake drama. Fake drama. We see Amy's dad, and this man is so nice. Now, I understand people put on for the cameras. It could be that he is very stern behind the scenes, but that man seemed very nice, very kind, extremely supportive of the process, at least on camera. And I know people be putting on for the cameras, but I didn't see anything. So fake drama with us too, that the dad wasn't going to approve. He clearly approves. Not much there. I think in a later episode, they also discussed that, or this episode at some point, they discussed that she's considering getting on birth control as well. So again, fake drama with these two. There is nothing there. Pretty sure this couple is our good couple for the season. And you know what? Good for them. It's refreshing to see a couple that genuinely stands a chance in this, because most of these couples don't. Okay, Chelsea and Jimmy. Ooh, baby. Let's get into it, okay? Let's get into it. So we meet these two talking on their balcony or whatever after the family visit. Jimmy is talking about how he was really happy with the family visit. He felt like it went great. He feels closer than ever to her and more in love with her now that she has met his family. They kiss. It's all good. The conversation takes a turn out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Chelsea starts up with that baby voice. You can't be mad at me, babe. Jimmy's like, yo, you can't be upset at me. Chelsea's upset because Jimmy went out for 1 hour because one of his friends was having a birthday. He went out for a drink. He invited Chelsea, but Chelsea was literally already bundled up, ready for the night. She didn't want to go. So he goes out for an hour to have a drink with his friend. Chelsea is distraught over this. Very, very distraught. She is saying that a girl in the pod, apparently Mackenzie, spotted him and was like, oh, where's Chelsea? And he was like, oh, he didn't know what to say because Chelsea wasn't there. So I guess Mackenzie had texted Chelsea and was like, oh, where are you? I see Jimmy out. She starts sobbing. I don't want to be with somebody who does this. I don't want to be with somebody who's going out. And Jimmy's like, who even is Mackenzie? He was like, I don't even know what Mackenzie looked like. Who is that? She goes on And remember, Chelsea's one of those people, she gets upset and she starts just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. So Chelsea goes on and she's like, in the pods, you said you weren't this kind of person. You said you don't even go out. Again, remember, we're talking about a 1 hour for a friend's birthday. And Chelsea even corroborates that he was only gone for a very short period of time. Sorry, y'all. It got dark in the middle of the other part, so I had to kind of, put the lights on. But as I was saying, Chelsea corroborates that he was only gone for like an hour. But she's sobbing, talking about how she doesn't want to be with someone like this. She doesn't want to be with someone like this. She doesn't want to be with someone who's going out every night or whatever she's claiming. She doesn't want to be with someone that goes out because I guess he went out once and she's like convinced that he goes out every night. So Chelsea is really, really worked up. She's like, when my friends ask me to go out, I say no because I'm deep in this process. And I'm like, okay. So Jimmy at this point is like, what? Like, you're mad because I went out for 1 hour for my friend's birthday. I had one drink and then I drove back home. He was literally like, I spent more time driving than I spent at the actual club. Chelsea is like, where are you at when you're working? Who are you texting every day? Who are you talking to? And Jimmy's like, you're fishing. You are clearly fishing. You are clearly fishing for me to say that I'm texting females every single day. And I like that. I like that Jimmy was calling her out because if there's one thing I do not like that people do is when they are trying to make you look bad in front of other people. And that's exactly what Chelsea was trying to do. Chelsea was trying to make this man look terrible. I'm not a Jimmy fan by any stretch of the word. You go back and watch the old videos. I call Jimmy a menace every day. But I did not like what Chelsea was doing whatsoever because she was clearly trying to, as Jimmy was saying, fishing. You were trying to steer the conversation a certain way so he looks a certain way so you can victimize yourself and get pity. And I don't like that. I really can't stand people who throw pity parties. It's just too much for me. So anyways, they keep on going. Jimmy's literally like, I thought the work question was funny because he was like, here. I am here. I work from home. I'm here during the day. What are you talking about? So Chelsea is basically accusing now that he's texting these girlfriends every single day. Apparently. All day, every day. So Jimmy goes, look, if you're with me, you're going to have to accept that I have female friends and accept me and all of my friends. And Jimmy's like, but I am willing to take a step back. I'm willing to take a step back if that's what you need. So Jimmy goes, do you want me to take a step back? And Chelsea goes, yeah, I would like that. He's like, I'm not willing to right now. He walks inside. That was hilarious. I was like, that was so funny. He was like, I'm not willing to, and walked his ass in that door. Like, I was like, this girl Chelsea is on one. So they go inside. Jimmy's brushing his teeth. This whole next part, Jimmy is literally brushing his teeth the whole time, which was funny. And Chelsea goes, it makes me uncomfy. It makes me uncomfortable because you effed one of them. So apparently off camera, they talked about that Jimmy had actual relations with one of the girls. Once. Now look. I get it. If it was just this, and they talked about it off camera, I would have probably understood where Chelsea was coming from. But again, this was a conversation they had off camera. He even says on camera, I didn't want to talk about this on camera. He was like, I put this girl in a position to be on camera with you, and this is what you're doing. You're putting out my business and her business. And why? Because you're fishing. And I didn't like that either. I really didn't like that. Because if I'm talking about something with you off camera, to be vulnerable, to be honest, to be transparent, why are you bringing it up on camera to garner pity? Girl, you thought. You look like a clown. Because no one is on her side. Baby, the streets is not on your side. No one is on your side. You look ridiculous. Absolutely and utterly ridiculous. This girl looks ridiculous. So she's sobbing. She's sobbing. And Jimmy's like, why would you do this to me? Like, I literally told you that in confidence, and you came on camera and said that because you're mad. And mind you, Chelsea is drunk. As I said, put the bottle down. Put the bottle down. Enough is enough. Somebody needs to limit this woman's alcohol usage because enough is enough. This is insanity. So at this point, Chelsea's like, who were you with last night then? Who were you with? He goes, I'm with 8 fraternity brothers and 2 of their girlfriends. I just thought that was funny because I'm like, bro, where you got the exact number? 8 fraternity brothers and 2 of their girlfriends. Why do you have the number 2 in exact science? That was funny to me. I was laughing. And Chelsea's like, but I heard that the girls from the pods were there. I know you were with Jess. Jimmy's like, where did you hear that from? And again, this is what's annoying me. Now she's just making stuff up because she's insecure. And Jimmy said it too. Jimmy's like, you're just saying that because you're insecure about Jess. Where did you hear that I was with Jess? Did Mackenzie tell you that? Chelsea couldn't even say yes. I don't like this at all. I don't like this. I think Chelsea's manipulative. She's insecure. She's a sloppy drunk. And she's very manipulative. People like her are extremely dangerous because they put on a puppy voice, they start crying, and they lie on you. They lie on you because they are trying to garner pity. Again, Jimmy is an absolute menace, but this was insane. Chelsea's insane. I'm so sorry. That girl is insane. That girl is absolutely insane. I don't know what's wrong with her, but this ain't it. Get off Love is Blind, go to your therapist's office and have a sit down. Because I couldn't. This was painful to watch. For the second time, I was like, ooh, this is worse than I remember it being. And Chelsea, like I said, Chelsea's like, I know you were with Jess. I know you were with Jess. I know you were with Jess. Jimmy's like, who told you that? Who told you that I was with Jess? Did Mackenzie tell you that? And she couldn't even say yes because she knew she was lying on that girl. That girl is insecure. Jimmy's also like, for the record, every time else besides last night, when I have been out, you have also been out with your friends. So for you to sit here and act like I'm out every night and you're just sitting in the house is false info. And I believe him. I totally believe that Chelsea goes out with people, her own friends. That roommate and all them other girls that we saw a few episodes ago. I totally believe she's out with them when Jimmy goes out with his friends. He's like, you're playing Little Miss Innocent, but are you better? And I believe him. I believe him. She keeps on reciting, I don't want to be with someone like this. I don't want to be with someone who's constantly out. I don't want to be with someone like this. Jimmy's like, do you think that everything I've said to you is BS? I do. I ain't gonna hold you. I do. But he's like, because if you think everything that I've been saying to you is BS, then we don't need to be together. We can be done. We don't have to be here. Because this ain't it. This is not it. It ain't gonna work, Chelsea. I was like, yes, thank you. This too is done. I was so happy. I was like, please, free yourselves. Free yourselves. Chelsea, last little scene here. Chelsea goes into the bathroom. It's like, please don't leave. Please don't leave. As they calm down. I'm sorry, but Chelsea, she's dangerous. Chelsea is an absolute and utter menace. It's hard for me to watch girls like her because I know people like this, like Chelsea, and they have been some of the most manipulative snakes I've ever met in my whole life. Under the guise of crying. Ooh, I can't do Chelsea. Okay, back to Adie and Clay. We have a scene here of them filling out their marriage license, and Eddie kind of states like it's crazy that she has to put deceased because her father passed away, and that is sad. I know for her she probably felt that a little bit because it's like, I think things like that hit in times like that, right? When you have to do something and then you're like, wow. Clay once again goes back into the cheating conversation. Once again says, my parents, my father cheated 7 years into their relationship, and I'm just worried. I am worried that I can't be what you want. And he starts to go on by saying, like, I don't know. Like, I just think love is love. But I don't necessarily feel like it needs to be defined by the marriage at the end, by the word at the end. Love is love. And I feel like and I'm sitting here like, why are you on Love is Blind if you know the ending result is to get married? Again, this is why I am fully convinced he does not like AD. It's not about, I can't stay faithful because my father cheated. No, he is trying to clearly tell this girl, I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you. I keep trying to tell you, I don't like you. I don't want to marry you. And again, I really think a lot of it is the fact that he wants to. I will say that. I don't necessarily think that Clay's intentions are like intentionally nefarious, if that makes sense. I think he wants to like AD. I just think there's something that's missing there for him. And based off the things he says, I think it's a looks thing. I think he likes the body. I don't think he likes the face, which is a shame because that girl is gorgeous. That girl is beautiful. Beautiful. Probably one of the most beautiful people we've ever had on this show. But I think for Clay, I just don't think he wants her like that. I don't. AD straight up says, I love you. I love the process, but I'm not going to be a forever fiance. I'm not going to continue to date you if you say no at the altar. She straight up says, if you say no at the altar, we are done. Good for you, AD. Stand on it now. Stand on business. Don't say that and then we see. Okay? Stand on business. If you say you're done with him, if he says no, be on it. Okay, we go back to Chelsea and Jimmy. Sadly, they are talking in the aftermath of their fight. Jimmy admits that he did want to leave. He wanted to leave. He did not want to be married anymore that morning. He basically said, like, look, I had decided that my answer was no this morning. Chelsea interrupts. That's another big thing about Chelsea that I can't stand. When she's upset, she starts word vomiting. She straight up is the rudest. She will interrupt you mid-sentence. And she's upset and she thinks the world has to listen to her because she's upset. I can't stand Chelsea. I'm sorry. I can't stand that girl. On the show. For the record, all of this is on the show. I don't know these people in real life. But the Chelsea I'm seeing on this show, I can't stand that person. Like, she will interrupt you. She straight up said, I'm interrupting you. I'm like, girl, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with this? Lord. So she goes on and on and on and says, just because we had a little hiccup doesn't mean that, we can't be together. I'm like, a hiccup? Girl, you spilled this man's dirty laundry on the show. You're screaming. You're accusing him of being with another girl that you actually had no basis for. You just made accusations out of nowhere. What are you talking about? You're sloppy drunk, you get loud. That's a hiccup? I know at this point, Jimmy's like, okay, sure, yeah, let's keep trying. Jimmy knows damn well he's not saying yes at that altar. I think Jimmy knows, look, let me just be in it for the check. Let me just be in it to go through it because I'm already there now. But Jimmy knows very well he's not saying yes to that girl at the altar. If he says yes to that girl at the altar, yikes. I know Jimmy's like, yeah, sure, I forgive you, girl. I forgive you. Sure, let's keep trying. Love you. I forgive you. Jimmy is out of there, as he should be. Because that ain't it. Okay, so all of the cast meets at like a lake house. It's like the all cast meetup. I feel like this is way later than it typically is, but maybe I'm tripping. But they all meet. The girls are chatting first, and they ask Laura where Jeremy is, and she basically says, like, look, Sarah Ann is disrespectful, rude as fuck. She's a bitch. I don't like her, but at the end of the day, it's Jeremy's fault. What Jeremy did to me is wrong. She does reveal that after their fight, it's been like 4 days and they haven't even spoken. Like, basically, he went to his apartment to cool off and he never reached back out, never said sorry, never said anything. Menace. So Jeremy does show up. Jeremy shows up to that club with a Hawaiian shirt on. And you know what? I got a little chuckle. I don't like the man, but I did think it was funny that he showed up in a Hawaiian shirt, okay? So he's talking to the guys, and he's basically like, you know, Laura, she's been awful, you know. Like, me and Sarah Ann just had a productive conversation, and then, you know, she's so messy. Like, I wanted to send her flowers, but she said no when I asked her what her address is to send her flowers. He's like, you know, I really wanted to fight for this, but then when she told me that she changed my name from fiance to Jeremy, I realized I don't want to be with someone who treats me like that. And I'm like, what kind of men do they have on this show this season? Like, real talk, what the heck kind of men do they have on this show this season? Because I was just so confused. So Trevor shows up a few minutes later, and Chelsea is like, that man's my type. I usually go for him. Beefy, muscular. She thinks he looks good. Jess and Mackenzie show up. And Jess, Mackenzie, and Laura are talking about how Jimmy was very uncomfortable when hugging or seeing Jess. Like, he, you know, was nervous. She could tell that he was a little uncomfortable. So Jimmy does a confessional, and he is really having regrets in that moment. Look, and I don't blame him, because Chelsea, I feel like it's not even the looks with her. It's the attitude. Y'all already know how I feel about her. He is like, you know, seeing Jess, it was tough, you know, and she does look good. I am attracted to her. Jimmy's having regrets. Okay? That man's having regrets. So we end off our episode with a Jess and Jimmy conversation. Jess is very clearly not trying to be with Jimmy romantically. I think she feels nervous because they had a connection in the pods, and it's like we're talking face to face for the first time. But from the get, she's asking, like, how was it like with Chelsea meeting your family? Jimmy's like, it was great. It was the easiest thing we had to do. You know, we had our biggest fight ever. He's starting to like divulge the info, and it's like, why are you telling her this? And Jessica's even like, look, like, be good to Chelsea. Like, okay, and I'm not saying this as an ex. I'm saying this as her good friend. Be good to her, okay? You better treat her right. You know, and Jimmy's just like, are you an ex? He goes on about how he was nervous, blah, blah, blah. But he says, and I know y'all heard this, you're still my number one. Or you are my number one still. And I'm like, huh? Does Chelsea know you just said to Jessica that she's still your number one? Did I misunderstand? And that's where we end the episode, y'all. So, these people, diabolical. All right, y'all. So we gonna have episode 11 tomorrow. But if you watched until here, please like, please share, please subscribe, please comment, please turn on the notification bell to grow my little channel. And also, I would love it if you would check out my other videos that are not Love is Blind videos. I know a lot of you are here for that. I totally get it. But I would love if you would check out some of the other videos on my channel. If you watched until here, I know you like the vid, so please help support my little channel. And until tomorrow, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.